Peace, everybody. Aborabo Yabo Shishin. Ogbuato. Asre Wodiwo Fun. Yo, I'm back with another one. Spiritual High Five. Here we are again. I'm broadcasting this time from Ado Ekiti, a state in Nigeria. I was here doing some Ifa initiations, and I got a call from one of my Omwawo about them getting a call from one of their people or clients, and so they thought their client was asking them a question, so they decided to come to me to ask me the question. And they said to me, Baba, if you would have just turned this into a spiritual high five, it'd be so much easier. I could have just referred them to the video. So I thought about it and I said, you know what? Let me get on it and do it right now. So first and foremost, welcome back, everybody. I had a very long hiatus, as you'll be able to see from the timestamps of the previous videos. You know, the elder of the temple, my mom, she passed back in February 2022. And so I had to deal with all of that, manage all of that. But now back in the saddle, and we're putting it together once again. So the question was, the person went and didn't do formal divination. They just wanted to ask a question about a very important topic. And so I'm here to speak today for our 10 minutes that we have with each other about the necessity of question asking. When you're dealing with Ifa divination, it's very different than tarot card or astrology or psychics, other systems, in that a lot of the time they will just tell you information, and no knocking any of it, because they're all aspects of the Creator, they're all aspects of God. They more so are concerned with directly just telling you stuff, not necessarily giving you an out or a means to interact with the information to either boost it or blunt it in your life, depending on if it's positive or negative. So question asking is super duper important. Quick story, a guy goes to a Babalawo and he says he wants children. The Babalawo says, okay, cool, no problem. He does divination, says do the Ebo, the guy does the Ebo. 6 months go by, no child. He turns around, he goes back again. He goes to the Babalawo, he says, I want to do divination because I want children. The Babalawo tells him, okay. He divines for him, tells him to do the Ebo, he does the Ebo. 6 months later, still, nothing has materialized. He goes back a third time, asks the same question, I want children. He says, okay. Does the divination, he prescribes the Ebo, and after he finished prescribing the Ebo for the client gets teed off at him, gets peed off. I'm not doing this anymore. I don't buy it. You're being a charlatan. You're just taking my money at every turn. You're telling me to do all these things. I'm doing these things, and it's not manifesting and turning into what I want. So the Babalawo looks, he thinks about it. He says, do you have a wife? The guy says, nope. He says, do you have a girlfriend? The guy says, no. He says, do you even have a casual friend, a cut buddy or something? The guy says, no. He says, then how do you expect to have children? Women bring children, not stalks. Eshu chopped down the tree on the road from heaven to earth, you know, back at the beginning of time. So they're not going to walk from heaven to earth. You need to then ask about a wife. Why am I mentioning this story? Is because it's about the question. The guy wasn't really focused in understanding the root of what he really wanted to ask. He wanted to ask about an outcome, but he didn't. His question should have been about, how do I even get to that outcome? What are the steps I need to take? So his divination should have been based on, how do I get a wife? Because once you have a wife, the wife can get pregnant. She gets pregnant, she carries a child to term, she delivers a baby. Now, husband and wife have their baby. So fast forward to the story, or to the experience that happened a little earlier today. The person went and asked a spiritual person that they deal with, wherever they are, a yes or no question about a very important topic in their life. And at one point they were told yes to their question. Fast forward a couple months, they had gotten some other news. They went back and asked this spiritual person another yes or no question about the same topic, And this time they were told no. So my Omwawo called me and said, a little question. How do I manage this? Because the person is asking me, I don't necessarily have the information. So I'm telling them, hold on, I'm going to ask somebody that has more experience on the topic. So I said to them, I said, well, this is why I'm a spiritual fiduciary. You have an accountant and then you have a CPA. I'm like the equivalent of the CPA for the financial world, for the spiritual world. I'm here to help people, to guide them, to help them tease out their thoughts, because the mind does what the mind does, which is think. That's all it's there for, is to be an antenna on the top of the body, to pick up signals from ley lines in the earth, from thoughts that are just floating around from everybody that's around them, from the inspiration and the wisdom from the Creator just coming from heaven, from their own, to house their own Ori. And so sometimes the thoughts aren't always rational. They don't have to be. The thoughts don't have to be coherent, or they don't have to all make sense. So it's on us to think about our question. My role is to help somebody to distill all of the different thoughts down into whatever that one pure thought is, to get them to the point of what it is that they're trying to achieve. So know that when you go to your Babalawos, your Olorisha people, or whoever it is that you consult, ask them if you feel unclear about if they can help you to really whittle away at the big block of thoughts down to what it is you actually want to ask, so that this way you will get the most potent response. Speaking from the Ifa perspective, because everything is about the question, Ifa can talk to us about a million things in our life, but we want to know about that one thing that's troubling us in that moment, or we want to know about that one thing that's bringing us great joy, and how do we keep it going, and how do we keep it running and vibrant and living well. So it's very important to ask questions, and it's very important to ask the right question. Understand, it's not necessarily always what you're saying, but how you're saying it. So, in conclusion, when you're sitting in the silence early in the morning, when you first wake up, or in the evening as the last thing you do before you go to bed, it's okay. Put your hands on your head, talk to your Ori, ask your Ori, if there's something you're trying to do, how do I achieve this thing? If it's something that you might not have had previous experience with before, it's okay. Ori, guide me, show me, introduce me to the people, the experiences that will help me to manage this thing, that will help me to understand how to navigate this idea, that will help me to know how to make this thing come out perfect in my favor. Ask your ancestors for help. If you have Ifa, definitely go to your Ifa with 2 kola nut. Speak to your Ifa. If you have any other Orisha, the same thing. Go to them with kola nut and speak into that kola nut about what it is you're trying to do. Ask and pray for clarity. Ask and pray for knowledge, understanding, wisdom, discernment, the ability to see a bunch of information come before you and to be able to sift through it to hit your target. So, with that being said, once again, spiritual high five. I love you all. Keep having a great day. Here from Ado Ekiti in Nigeria, West Africa. We're just finishing up with Ifa initiations that went stellar. And till the next one, Odaru.